All right, recording. Yay. All right, good morning again. Thank you so much for being here for this cataloging users meeting. I am Claudia Nixon, Swan Bibliographic Services consultant, and a co-chair for this meeting is Sandra Leyva from ALSIP Library. And as I said, if you have any questions, please enter into the chat box, or you can ask to be unmuted, right? Okay, so let's get started. Oh, one more thing. The session is being recorded, but I would really like if a volunteer or two would take notes so I can post the notes later on. That would be really helpful. Is anyone dying to take notes? Just enter into the chat box if you would like to take notes. If nobody wants to, it's totally fine. It's just helpful for me later to gather my thoughts and put in a document for you to read later. All right, so let's get started. All right, reopening plans. Yay! Tech services operations, priorities, concerns. Would anyone like to share how are things going and your plans to get tech services operations up and running again? Would anyone like to give us an idea of what the next month will look like in technical services? We are aware that everyone's responsibilities are shifting and some people might be doing things they've never done before. For example, you might be helping with creating precats or you might be training someone. Would anyone like to share what's going on or what the next month will look like, your plans? Just let me know in the chat box, or if you want to be unmuted, I can unmute you so you can talk. Okay, Joel, great. Let me unmute you. Hold on just 1 second. There are a lot of people. Oh, you are unmuted.
Yeah, no, Claudia, yes, I can unmute myself, yes.
Oh, great. Maybe you guys can do
As
that.
always, yes. As always, I'm willing to share. Tech services never really shut down during this time.
Yes, I know.
Was considered, essential services. So like I have continuously come in. The amount of hours has kind of varied from month to month. Next week, I'm coming back full time. My staff is coming back just a day short of being full time because I had continued to order and receive orders during this period. Our main focus was getting the stuff that we knew was on hold out because we started curbside services this week from the existing hold shelf. And next week, they're going to start working on the hold shelf reports. We do have a bit of a backlog, so our services really haven't changed. The library was quarantining, incoming book drop materials for 72 hours. We were also trying to quarantine, the materials that we were sending out of the department for 72 hours. The decision was made earlier this week that based on information that's been going around, that it's highly unlikely that the virus is transmitted through touching anything. So we are no longer quarantining materials through the book drop or from department or person to person.
Okay. No quarantining at all?
Nope.
Okay. I think that's fine. Like you said, there's a very little chance of transmitting, but from what I read, and if people are careful not to touch face and wash hands constantly, I think that's totally fine. Thank you, Joy, for sharing.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's been the high priority with everybody. Is like we are constantly washing our hands and wearing the face mask, and that's what we're encouraging staff to do. If they still want to wear gloves, as they're shelving or checking in materials, that option is available.
Perfect. Sounds good. Rebecca, you want to go ahead and share yours as well?
Oh, sure. Like Tinley Park at LaGrange, we were also continuing to receive new materials. We were trying to prioritize cataloging and processing the items that we knew had holds. It was a little bit difficult because we could run reports to see what had holds, but then the holds were released on May 18th when we started curbside. So that was the new holds since the basically the closure. So all of a sudden we had 800 on shelf items with a pick list. So that included like the on order items. So we were trying to kind of separate that out. So definitely at LaGrange, we were trying to prioritize for curbside the items that had holds for LaGrange patrons. So we were trying to get those processed and out of the department as soon as we could. It was just difficult to see because if the item was on order, it wasn't coming up on the pick list. So we kind of had to do a manual check.
Wow. Wow. That's a new way of doing things. Yes.
Yeah, it's just definitely a different process. We're also in the process of combining our tech services and circulation departments, so we've been doing that during the closure as
Wow.
well.
Yes, my goal with hearing from a few libraries how things are going is that like my PowerPoint says, what can SWAN do to help? So if there's anything you guys think that BIB services specifically can do to help, just let us know. Okay. Thank you. I think Sandra wants to share as well.
Yes, we actually started going to the building just Tuesday, this past Tuesday. So it actually went pretty well. We have one staff member working at home one day a week and doing all the ordering. I myself actually just did cereals the whole time we were closed. And it actually went a lot better than I thought. We actually cleaned up before we closed. We sort of cleaned up technical services with the processing. So I would say that helped us a lot coming back with somewhat of a clean department.
That's
However,
great.
we're starting ordering today, so we'll see how that goes. I know you services sent 10 cards, so I just, told the ordering person to just go ahead and order all 10 cards. To us, 10 cards is basically like a 1 week worth of work in regards to ordering. So it's usually about, minimum 10 cards. So I think that's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
We have clerks processing. Right now, we have 2 people working remotely from Circ, and they will be actually doing just cleanup work at home and just, see how that works. Another thing that we're just unsure is that, we have newspapers, but we're not sure if we want to circulate them. We don't do it now, but since we're going to be closed for the public for the next, 2 months or so, we're not sure if other libraries circulate newspapers. If they do, how does that work? Is it just one generic record, or do they do it individually as like a serials? Other than that, we're doing pretty good. We have shared amongst other libraries, information of how they did their technical services procedures, not with the quarantine. We decided to do 7 days with every item coming in, with every packaging. We're quarantined 7 days just to be on the safe side. Staff is optional to wear gloves, but it's required to wear a face mask. And we do have face shields for every staff member. So if they do want to wear one, they could wear it, all day. We start curbside on the 15th. So we'll see how that goes. We did do curbside and home deliveries for the holds that were already pending when we closed. And a lot of the patrons are excited that we're somewhat open. So we feel like curbside is going to be a success when we start doing it completely, fully in full capacity.
Excellent.
So if anyone does, circulate newspapers, if you can share that information with me. If not, then that's fine.
That's a good question to put in one of the SWAN community forums, asking libraries who are circulating newspapers if they can share a little bit. We'll definitely do that.
Okay.
We'll put the question out there and then see what people are doing. I know some libraries ask for certain periodicals to be shadowed, but some might be circulating. So let's see what everyone's doing. That's very interesting to us as well. Thank you, Sandra. Let's hear from one more library. Nora, did you want to share Downers Grove? What Downers Grove's doing?
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we have been doing curbside for, I think this is our third week, and we've had staff in the building for the past 4 weeks. Within technical services, the first 2 weeks we were open, we had all of the clerks coming in. Basically, we didn't do any ordering or have any deliveries during quarantine other than having the mail picked up. So we had a ton of cereals. And so the first 2 weeks really were getting caught up on all of the cereals from when we were closed. And also something that may be of note to people who are planning to reopen, as soon as we knew staff were going to be in the building, we called all our vendors and told them to resume deliveries. But it was still several days before we got anything shipped, even though there was stuff that was ready from March when we had told them to stop deliveries. So you may want to keep that in mind with if you're thinking of resuming deliveries and haven't yet, that there might be a bit of a delay. And then we're quarantining anything in cardboard for 3 days, anything in plastic, which is mostly just a Amazon sleeve here and there, for 7 days. So what we've done is we've actually set up 7 different quarantine areas in our workroom. We're lucky to have a large enough workroom to be able to do that. And we have signs so that when something gets shipped in, we put a little sign on it and write the date that it was delivered and when it can be opened. And right now there's a delay on everything because we're doing that quarantine before we open it and process it. But once shipment started, stuff's really coming in, and we're working as best as we can within the parameters to get stuff out to patrons while prioritizing things that have more holds. So adult fiction, popular nonfiction titles, popular children's titles, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was one other thing that was relevant. I can't think of it right now, but that's generally what tech is up to at Downers.
Great. Yeah, that's smart to have 7 different quarantine areas. So, when you get to the 7, now it's time to move the number 1. It's out, has been quarantined. That's really smart. Thank you for sharing, everyone. And if anything else comes up, please let me know. I mean, you can chime in at any time. And let us know if there's anything BIB services can do to help out in during this period. All right, so moving on with our agenda. Okay, combo pack cleanup. With the implementation of the 590 combo pack terminology back in September, when we started using the 590 combo pack, SWAN has always wanted to do a cleanup project of those records. Remember, before we implemented combo pack, we used to use Blu-ray for combos and for Blu-ray. So after we started using the 590 combo pack, we have always wanted to do a cleanup, and this last 2 months provided us with the perfect opportunity to use this time for that cleanup. So a report was created to capture inconsistencies on records with a 590 combo pack using the following criteria. Combo packs must have 2007 tags. must have a 250 Blu-ray DVD combo pack and a 300 with subfield E. So this report captured any inconsistencies in combo pack that met those criteria. After those were corrected, a second report was created to capture records with a 590 Blu-ray that should be combo pack. These records were selected if they contain 2007 tags, DVD and combo pack in the 250 tag, and a note in the 500 tag indicating there was a combo pack. The report generated 457 records, and Scott did a batch change and flipped the 590 to combo pack. After that, there was a third step, a final step. The first report to capture inconsistencies in combo packs ran a second time to verify errors on the records Scott had flipped from Blu-ray to combo packs. The most common errors were combo packs with a single 007 tag and the 302 video discs instead of one Blu-ray plus one DVD. And there were many records, as I'm highlighting here, there were many records with single items attached to combo packs. So I don't know if it's a matter of making staff aware that they should not leave single items in combo records, but I thought it was worthwhile to highlight here and to remind staff that combo packs, if they're split, they should have two separate records. So, one second here. All right. So if your library is splitting a combo pack, before you attach your items, examine the 300 physical description, the 250 tag, the edition statement, and 500 tags. Those tags will indicate if the record is for a combo pack or not. So if it is for a combo pack and you're splitting your combo, do not attach your items there. You may have to add 2 precats or choose to attach your DVD and your Blu-ray to standalone records if the specifications and special features match. We're going to look at documentation on that. And one more note here. Members using acquisitions should be especially careful with combo packs. Would anyone like to comment on this before we look at the documentation? All right, let's take one look at one more slide here before we go to the support site. So combo packs circulating separately. 2 records, Blu-ray record, DVD record. The 024, the UPC number, should be preceded by pipe Z if you're using the UPC from the combo record, okay? So the Blu-ray and the DVD, you can add the UPC there, but then add the pipe Z. This prevents acquisition process from attaching combo packs to standalone records. Then we have the edition statement for both 250, Blu-ray only, DVD only. 300 tag, 1 Blu-ray disc, blah, 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 1 DVD or 1 video disc. A 500 note on each record, part of a Blu-ray DVD combo pack, same with the DVD record, and then the correct terminology for both. Okay, if at any moment anyone wants to chime in, please feel free, okay? All right, now let's look at the documentation. Hold on here. Sorry, I got ahead here. All right. All right. So on the SWAN support site, under documentation, cataloging, local practices and policies, you will scroll down and find the combo packs if you want to look at the documentation, right? It gives an explanation about the Blu-ray DVD combo packs. To be especially careful because each Blu-ray DVD combo pack may have as many as 3 matching records. Let me make this bigger. Right? Then circulating separately the instructions. Now here, combining split discs with standalone Blu-ray or DVD records. If a separated combo pack item has all the same features and specifications as a standalone Blu-ray or DVD, you may opt to add the combo pack disc to a record for the Blu-ray or DVD. Okay? That's fine, as it says here, if it has the same features and specifications. And further, you may optionally add a 591 internal note saying, may contain discs split from combo pack record. Then you're going to enter the title control number of the combo pack record, as well as the combo pack UPC in the 024, preceded by subfield Z. We saw that. Okay, so this internal note, it's totally fine if you want to add the note to be especially careful. Hey, I added my split part of the combo pack to this record. I just want to let everyone know it's a 591 internal note. Okay. And further recommendations for splitting combo packs. If you use the acquisitions module and opt to split your combo packs, SWAN recommends reflecting this in the database as soon as possible, because you will get the combo pack record from the vendor, right? And then holds will start be put on that record. So it's good if you know you're going to separate your record and you get that record from the vendor for a combo pack, just split your DVD and your Blu-ray as soon as you can, okay? To prevent your patrons from attaching holds and it just get a little messier later, okay? Any questions, concerns, suggestions so far? Just enter in the chat box, or if you can unmute yourself, go ahead. If you need me to unmute you, just let me know. Oh, Laura, the 007 tag for full records, so that does not concern precats so much. That combo pack cleanup that we did, I should have emphasized, it was done on full records. And the 007 tag, it's a physical description to the Blu-ray part and the DVD part components of the record. And those are like a set of codes that you enter for full records. For precat purposes, you don't need to worry about the 007 tags. I don't know if everyone can see the question that Laura asked. I'm sorry, I started responding without repeating the question. She asked, what do I mean by a 007 tags? That concerns the full records, not the precats. But however, if you see a record for a combo pack that must have 2007 tags and it has only one, send a ticket and we will correct that. Did I answer your question, Laura? So for pre-cat purposes, you don't need to worry about the 007 tag. It's my worry about pre-cats is when you receive the record from the vendor and it's a combo pack and you're going to split. So to get to that as quick as possible. My second concern and reminder is do not attach single items to combo records, but transfer to a standalone record if your item matches the specifications and special features, or create a new precat for the parts you are splitting from the combo packs. Anyone else would like to add anything or a question? I think I covered everything with the combo packs. We can always go back to this subject if you think about something later on and like, oh, I should have asked that. Just let me know. Okay. So moving on with our agenda. Our next topic is inconsistencies with volume field. And Sam is going to talk a little about the chronology pattern in serials.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me. Hi.
Yes.
Okay, this is Sam, as Claudia said, and I'm just going to give a little update on chronology patterns and serials. So over a year back, we had made a decision to strip enumeration out of call numbers for the majority of serial titles. So if you're unfamiliar with that, as a reminder, for consumer magazines, newspapers, and trade journals, you want to record chronology only and no enumeration, which is that like volume number and issue number kind of thing. And if you're using serial control, those settings that affect that are in the OPAC display tab, which is on the left of that slide, and then the patterns tab, which is on the right. And then the second screenshot in the left side is showing you a call number with chronology only and no enumeration. So if you have not taken a look at your serial controls and made sure that you're recording chronology only for those kind of titles, we would ask you to do so. The majority of you are already doing this correctly, but this is just a friendly reminder. And Claudia made a great cleanup effort sometime back shortly after we instituted this change and had reached out to a bunch of you, but we're going to do a second sweep through with this with a finer tooth comb. So you may or may not be getting an email from me asking you to take a look at your controls if you are continuing to put enumeration in the title. And so just keep an eye out for that. You may or may not be getting an email. And I want to note too that don't worry about fixing any existing call numbers for items that have already been created. We were just going to ask you to fix your control records so that this doesn't happen in the future. And we are going to be modifying those existing call numbers en masse. I think we're trying to work out a way to do that so you don't have to worry about doing all of that work manually yourself. So does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, and I also want to note that this is all labeled and clearly explained in the serials section of the documentation page on the SWAN support site as well.
Would you like me? Let me show that.
Sure. Yeah, that would be great, Claudia. Thank you.
Hold on just 1 second. So let's go to the serials. And SWAN practice for managing serials.
Yes.
Weeklies. Yes. I have a list of the weeklies. And let's go in the enumeration area.
Yeah, that call numbers and policies link, that'll take you right to it.
There you go, constructing the analytic and information to include. Perfect.
Yeah, so if you're ever unsure which titles you want to record enumeration for, just go to this handy list and it'll help inform you.
And also here it talks about, I like this part so much, I refer to it sometimes, constructing enumeration, the term on item, and what kind of abbreviation you would use.
Yes.
For the volume number V, nav, VOL, period, V period, no space, and the number.
Yeah, exactly. Those labels are important because they affect how holds are placed. And yeah.
Perfect. So this you find under documentation, serials, and then call numbers and policies. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
I go back to my PowerPoint. All right. Continuing along with the inconsistencies found with the volume field, there are some problems with the volume field for monographic, serials, graphic novels, and travel guides that use a single volume, a standalone record for each volume number. These do not require the pipe Z with the volume information. The example I have here is for a big day for baseball. And this is a volume 29 in the series Magic Treehouse. So it's a record for this particular volume, volume 29. You do not need to add the pipe Z with the volume number in the call number area. When you do that, it forces the patron to have to select a volume number when they're placing hold in Enterprise. They click place hold, then opens this little window here. So no pipe Z with a volume number if the record is just for volume 29. The patron does not realize that that blank line is an option, and if he clicks on that blank line, he can place the hold. So this caused a lot of confusion, and the patron and people might think, oh, there are only 2 volumes, only 2 items in this record, volume 29. And I looked at this record, there are several items attached to this record, but because 2 items have in the call number the pipe Z with a volume number, this happens in Enterprise, and it forces the patron to have to choose. And like I said, the patron is not aware that the blank line is an option. Okay. Any comments on this? I have one more example here. All right, this is straight from the documentation on the support site. Single versus multi-part records. Items grouped under a single record. My example here, the record for the World Book Encyclopedia. All the volumes for this title are in the same record. Therefore, you have to use the pipe Z to differentiate each volume, right? So this is absolutely correct. Now below here, we have that problem. Items receiving individual records per volume or edition, no pipe Z, okay? For instance, this call number is correct too. It's not necessary to add the volume number to the call number. If this call number came from a record for volume 33, but the library still insists, well, I want the volume number and the call number. Well, that's fine. Just don't add the pipe Z, okay? Remember, the pipe Z only if all the volumes for a certain title are in the same record. If not, if it's a record for a single volume, every volume gets a different record, you do not need to add the pipe Z to the call number. Okay, now let's look at the documentation about this. So under cataloging, item records and call numbers. Call number basics. It tells you everything you need to know about the classification schemes, the Z analytic. Then here, when not to use volume information. I apologize if I'm reading straight out and you might be thinking, oh, I can go later and read, but I think it's always nice if somebody reads out loud with you to remind libraries and us one more time of when not to use volume information. So here it says to use call number volume information to distinguish differing parts of the greater whole, right? But now, if a record is for volume 2 and only represents volume 2, there is no need to include the pipe Z in the call number, okay? So do not use a subfield Z, okay? And like for the serials call number, you're going to use the correct abbreviation if you're using the volume and the call number, right? It'll be V, not VOL period, but V period. Now here's the big difference of the volume number and the call number for monographic serials. There is a little space that you should add here. Okay. For serials, you didn't have that space. For monographic records, you have that. Okay, so there's a little space here, just a little tiny detail to remind. Any questions or comments about this volume field and when to enter the pipe Z, no pipe Z? Hey, you guys are very quiet today. So we are going to move along unless somebody needs a break. I don't expect that this will go longer than an hour because being online meeting, there's just as much time as you can hold somebody's attention. And I know everybody's busy with curbside pickup, reopening and everything. If you really feel like we should have a break, please let me know and enter in the chat box. And if you don't want a break, let me know as well. So yes or no? What do you guys say? No break. Okay, perfect. So let's continue. Continuing with the volume information. Box sets. It is one policy that box sets be circulated as a single unit, including but not limited to television series. So if you have a record that it's for season 3 and season 3 only, you do not need to include the pipe Z and the call number. Same thing as we've seen before, okay? So it has only season 3 in that record. It doesn't matter if season 3 has several DVDs. It is one policy that the box sets be circulating as a single unit, have a single barcode, and circulate as one item. So no Z in the call number. Okay? All right. So let me look at my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay. Moving along. All right, Symfony fixed field arrangement change. With the recent Symfony upgrade back in January, I believe it was January, came a change to the way fixed fields display in Symfony. This new field called record status appeared in the upper left corner. It displays a record status value from OCLC. That field, you can edit that field, but really you don't need to worry about this field at all, okay? Now, this field impacted us in a sense that with the inclusion of this field, everything else was moved to the right, right? like as if you're in a line, and then somebody else comes in, and then everybody gives a little step to the right. So the fiction nonfiction facet that used to live here in this rectangle, it moved to the right over here. However, some people entering precats, like people are amazing how you get used to visually adding something to the same location. So some people continue adding the 0 for nonfiction or the 1 for fiction when creating precats in this area here, unaware that the fiction nonfiction facet moved to the right. Okay, so just a reminder for your staff or staff who creates precats to pay attention to this and enter the 0 or 1 for fiction nonfiction in the correct rectangle, because people are putting 1 for fiction over here, and then suddenly it seems like all our records have indexes. Okay, so it's just a reminder. Any questions or comments about this fixed field arrangement change? All right. Okay, moving along with the agenda. Quality control, auditing, and feedback for precats. Auditing and feedback, SWAN staff has been working on methods for gathering and evaluating BIB records, full records, and precats, with the goal of minimizing inconsistencies, missing data, and duplicate records. And we have been and we will be communicating this back to member libraries, to member library staff in a more systematic way. As far as precats go, we are looking for the following inconsistencies and we'll be reporting back. Lack of indicators in the 245 tag, incorrect 590 tag, including the default format, incorrect fiction and fiction value, and consistent omission of required precat tags. So when I say we will be reporting in a more systematic way, I mean that when we detect inconsistencies in full records, we will bring this up not only to the member library, but to the cataloging advisory. And when we detect inconsistencies, like repeated offenses, not like one thing here, one thing there, repeated inconsistencies, we will be contacting member libraries, but then inconsistencies in precats, we will bring it up to the next cataloging users group in meeting in October. Okay, so I just wanted to make everyone aware that if you never received an email, suddenly you might receive an email from me. And I think this is the perfect time to remind libraries that to look at the documentation. Also, I refer to the documentation because everything is there on how to create precats, right? So here, not only we have the local practice tab, but we have everything about precats, creating a precat, creating precats for audiovisual materials, everything you might need. So I think it's the perfect opportunity to review the material with your staff. Okay, and then, oh gosh, I went to my beginning slide, sorry. And then in the next cataloging users meeting, we will bring up inconsistencies found in precats. Any questions or comments about this work that's been done behind the scenes, all with the goal of making the patrons experience as best as possible, avoiding missing data and correct information, a ton of duplicate records. So any comments or suggestions will be very much appreciated. And it's a two-way street. We report inconsistencies. If you guys doing your daily work, you also come across inconsistencies, please send us a ticket or email me or anyone in BIB services will be fine. Okay? Any comments on these?
Claudia, this is Rebecca. I just had a question about when we do circulating equipment or items that are just more like they're just for our library. Can I remove the pre-CAT designation for those? I'm talking about like, electronic devices or cameras or things like that.
The MARC Online records, right? We call them MARC Online records. Yes, you can, Rebecca. You can remove the pre-CAT. Some libraries, when they create those records, they like leaving the 977 pre-CAT because then it will come up in our pre-CAT report and we will take a look at it and either say, oh, there's an inconsistency here, like we have. Let me go back to the local practices. Here we have a part that talks about the MARC Online records, and one of the things we always ask is to create like a 245 with your library 3-letter initial, then an added title spelling out your library's name, and then an additional added title just with that thing, with the whatever the device or the item is. Does it make sense? So it makes it very clear that Berkeley has that item. So other libraries are not going to accidentally attach their item to that record because that's a record that belongs to Berkeley. Does it make sense? So that's the only thing we ask for consistency really is this title and added titles. And the 590 if you're using equipment or tools and things. And like I said, some people like leaving the pre-CAT, so we will take a look at the record. But if you're comfortable and you just remove the pre-CAT and add a date cataloged, we're fine with that too. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Claudia, if I can interject,
Please.
I did want to
Please.
say, regarding those MARC Online records, since you brought it up, it is an area that I was hoping to bring up with cataloging advisory last month. But with all the nonsense going on, it's like, that's not start a new project. But something that I kind of want to do with the group is take a look at MARC Online records, but more specifically like Library of Things records, and see if there's maybe something we can do to, become a little more unified in that realm, see if there's really even a demand to do that. And so hopefully this fall, when things the dust starts to settle, that might be something that we look at as a group and start to talk about a little more actively, just to see where things are and where people want to go with it. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and whatever is discussed in the cataloging advisory group meeting, I will bring to this group as well, like suggestions or comments about those MARC Online records. Does anyone else have a question? Nora, you had added something else about what we were talking about at the beginning about the reopening plans. Do you want to mention anything?
Sure, I put it in the chat, but I remember the thing that I had forgotten previously, which was just that we had divided our, there's 6 people in our tech services department, and we've divided them into groups of 3. So 1 person who catalogs and 2 clerks in each group. And we're working basically in shifts. So one group works only on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the other group works only on Thursdays and Fridays. And this way, if one of us gets sick or something, and the other people who are working with that person have to quarantine for 2 weeks, our department's still able to run because half the people can come in. Whereas if we were all working at the same time and someone would get sick, then we might all have to go quarantine and there would be no one left in tech services. So that's one thing that we're doing just to try to proactively deal with situations that may arise.
Now that's a really good suggestion. Yes, doing shifts. Yeah, great. That's really good. Does anyone else have a comment or anything that you would like to add? Any questions? If you remember later, you can always email me and then I'll email everyone else with the question or comment. Well, if this is all we had, I was expecting this would be brief because of the nature of online meetings. I have here next meeting, October 1st, 9:30 to 12, location to be decided. So I will definitely let everybody know coming everybody knows coming up closer to the date to submit topics or anything. If you want to present something or talk about something, you can take the stage. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And
Before we go,
mhm.
I just really wanted to quickly open up the floor to see if there was anything anybody brought to, this meeting that they wanted to ask or go over.
I thought I had asked that, but maybe
Oh,
I didn't.
did you? I'm sorry if you did.
Or maybe I didn't.
If not, I can also fill up some time here because I want to just mention that one of the things that we're looking at in the next year is sort of revisiting our cataloging training endeavor, basically. So, that last year we really moved on to a more online focused training regimen. We have recordings available, which was actually great, right? Because we were able to do these online trainings, record them, and then make them available to people so they can, they don't have to wait for the next pre-cat training to come along. If they have new staff, you can just send them to the one that already exists. And sort of the next logical step in this, in this process seems to be to kind of formalize that a little more. And so we're taking, and I'm not sure how this is going to go yet, but I'm thinking we're going to take some inspiration from the way some of the other consortia in Illinois have handled training. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Prairie Cat. Most of their libraries are up in northern Illinois, but they have a really neat kind of regimented set of training tracks where you can, they're sort of self-guided, and you can get little cutesy things like a little badge or something, but you've gone through okay, I've done all of the cataloging training, now I know all there is to know. So we're looking at platforms right now. This is really a large-scale project over the next year, and we're still looking at platforms, but I'm pretty excited about it. And during the development process, a few months from now, we're probably going to need guinea pigs and hopefully to get some feedback on certain things. So we'll be letting you know how that goes. But I'm pretty excited about it, and I just wanted to let you know that was something that was happening.
I'm excited too, and I already started working, gathering some material. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah, and one of the benefits of this format is that we can take things like topics from this meeting, like say the volume information, something that's a consistent, pain in our neck. It seems like an uphill battle, and just make a small module about that, and then have it. It's just another venue for people to get that information.
Right, like a self-paced, a cataloging course, like with self-paced little modules, right?
Right, and so you can say,
something along those lines. I'm not. Suddenly I said, then I'm like, we're committing. Well, we're planning something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a new staff member, you say, just do the SWAN pre-cat track, and it'll tell you everything you need to know with making pre-cats, with the volume stuff, all of SWAN's special, little rules and all of that. It'll all be sort of in one nice package. Mm-hmm. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sue's birthday,
Oh,
yes.
Sue, happy birthday, Sue.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
And we hope you're finding a good way to celebrate somehow today.
All right. Anyone else? Anything you would like to add? Oh, we wish you the best, Sue. All right. I think this is all I had for today. And again, if you think about anything later on, please let us know. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And good luck with reopening.